This is your complete travel guide to Belfast, Northern Ireland, a city of immense proud history. I'll show you everything from how to get here from the airport, getting around the place, honestly you can just walk, how to see the Titanic, some of the other attractions outside of the city centre, and how to have an amazing time here in the Northern Irish capital. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Belfast. Whether you're here for a weekend getaway or doing an Irish road trip holiday, I've got you covered, as this guide will take you through the best things to do in this fair city. Now, let's take a look at a map, and fortunately for you, Belfast is compact and surprisingly easy to navigate, with most of the attractions emanating from Belfast City Hall. You can easily get around the city just by walking, and public transport isn't necessary. I'll show you the few attractions at the end of the video that do require some form of transport, but most of what you're interested in is within fairly easy walking distance. I suppose I better start with the city's proudest landmark, Belfast City Hall. It sits majestically in the heart of Donegall Square. It's grand, it's elegant, and it has a dome so impressive it could moonlight as an Italian cathedral. Well, sort of. But don't just take photos from the outside. Because it's a public building, it's free to go inside. And the interior is equally spectacular, with stained glass windows, marble staircases, and a free museum explaining Belfast's history and culture. Before you go any further, I highly recommend that you visit the Belfast Information Centre, which you'll find across the street from City Hall. Here you can pick up leaflets, book bus tours, and I recommend that you at least pick up a paper map, as your phone signal will betray you somewhere in this city. So let's go down the street and eat, and I'm taking you to foodie heaven, St George's Market. It's one of the oldest public markets in the UK, and if you're into fresh food, local crafts, or live music, this place is brilliant and stereotypically Northern Irish. It's lively, it's local, and it's one of the best places to get some great Irish food and a feel for Belfast's character. Once you leave St George's Market and head north, you'll enter Belfast's modern shopping district, Victoria Square, crowned by the famous Victoria Square Dome, an observation point with 360-degree views of the city. It's free to go up, which is rare these days, so take advantage whilst you can. Walk along the River Laggan and you'll find modern sculptures. There's the Beacon of Hope and various artistic things. It's a scenic, relaxing walk, unless it's cold and windy. Something that's a lot calmer and nearby is Belfast Cathedral. Located in the Cathedral Quarter, this stunning Anglican cathedral is known for its needle-like spire and beautiful exterior. It's peaceful, grand, and absolutely worth going inside, mainly because it's free. Plus, the Cathedral Quarter has some of the best pubs, restaurants, and nightlife in the whole city. Even if you have no intention of stepping inside a stereotypical Irish pub, at least walk the streets for some colourful and typical Irish surroundings. Right next to the cathedral is the Metropolitan Arts Centre. It's home to rotating exhibitions, theatre productions, comedy acts, and displays that sometimes make you question whether you're looking at art or a chair glued to a wall. Either way, it's free to enter, so give it a wander. Visit Castle Court Shopping Centre if you're still itching to spend some money. But go north of that and you'll come across one of Belfast's top attractions, the Crumlin Road Gaol. Once a working prison for over 150 years, the Crumlin Road Gaol gives you a dark but captivating look at incarceration, escape attempts, paranormal tales, and political history. You'll walk through creepy tunnels, abandoned cells, see some execution chambers, and exhibits that remind you that prison life was not at all fun. It's educational, eerie, and superbly well done, and you'll be shocked at the sheer scale of the place. It's a pioneering example of how modern prisons operate today. If you go to the east side of the city, towards the Docklands area, you'll come across the SSE Arena. It's the modern concert venue, but it's also home to the city's ice hockey team, the Belfast Giants. if you love ice hockey or even if you don't. Catching a Belfast Giants game here is surprisingly fun. The atmosphere is family friendly, loud, and surprisingly full of Irish charm, given that it's a game for violent North Americans. Whilst you're walking out of the SSE Arena, you might notice these giant things in the distance. These are the world famous Harland and Wolff cranes. You can't miss them. These giant yellow cranes dominate the skyline and are living monuments to Belfast's shipbuilding legacy. They are huge, like properly huge, and I'm pretty sure that you'll take at least 20 photos of them even though they haven't moved in 60 years. Ironically, it's at this point where you'll come across the most popular attraction in the entire country. The Titanic Belfast. This is Belfast's flagship attraction, and one of the best museums in the world. No, seriously, it is. A stunning architectural masterpiece rising from the Titanic Quarter. This museum tells the full story of the Titanic, from its construction right here in Belfast to its tragic sinking. It's immersive, emotional, high-tech, and absolutely worth your time. Even if you already know the story and seen the film a million times, you'll still be impressed. Now we head south to the gorgeous campus of Queen's University. Founded in 1845, it looks like a cross between Hogwarts and a fancy Victorian mental institution. Walk through the grounds, admire the architecture, step into some of the buildings, even though you're not supposed to, and soak in the lively vibe of the students' area around Botanic Avenue. Just south of Queen's, you'll find the Ulster Museum, the Palmer House, and the Botanical Gardens. These three attractions sit right next to each other. The Ulster Museum is like a natural history museum, with animals, dinosaurs, mummies, political history, and lots of things you didn't think Northern Ireland had. Ooh, weird. The Palm House is a Victorian glass house filled with exotic plants and flowers. And the Botanical Gardens are peaceful, scenic, and a perfect place to unwind, when it's not raining sideways or in the middle of winter just like this. By the way, you can't visit Belfast without at least acknowledging the Troubles. The past is still visible in murals, peace walls, divided neighbourhoods, and street art. So that's pretty much everything to see, do, and experience here in Belfast. But if you're willing to travel a bit further, you'll find Belfast Castle and Cave Hill Country Park. This is where you'll get some of the best views of the city. Belfast Castle itself is beautiful, free to explore, beautifully decorated inside, and the surrounding grounds are perfect for photos. It won't take you all that long to see, 15 minutes maximum, so only come here if you're also planning on climbing up Cave Hill. If you do, the views at the top are worth the hike and the severe breathlessness. If you're not planning on climbing the hill, don't bother with the castle on its own. Something else you can do instead is visit the Belfast Zoo. Located on Cave Hill, this zoo is spacious, family-friendly, and home to hundreds of animals. If you love wildlife, it's a great half-day trip. And finally, if you have your own car or are willing to sit on public transport for an hour or so, visit the Giant's Causeway on the north coast of Northern Ireland. It's one of the most famous natural landmarks in the world. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site with thousands of perfectly formed hexagonal stones created by volcanic activity. Or, according to Irish legend, a giant did it. Whichever explanation you prefer, it's absolutely worth the day trip. But fair warning, if the weather is stormy, like when I visited, visiting the Causeway and trying to walk across Carrick-a-Rede rope bridge is treacherous, bordering on suicidal. Either way, this is absolutely worth a day trip on its own, and I'll be making a video on the Giant's Causeway and Carrick-a-Rede eventually, as there's a few things you need to know before you go. Overall, Belfast is a lovely city to explore, and now that you know what to expect, start booking your trip now. Okay Nin, I'm sold. What do I need to do? Well, you need to come here to Belfast. You'll likely fly into one of two airports. Belfast City Airport, the small regional airport that's close to the city centre, or Belfast International Airport, which is the largest of the two airports but much further away. To get into town, use the number 600 Airport Express bus from Belfast City Airport, which you can take from just outside the terminal. Alternatively, use Sydenham Railway Station, which is a short walk away, and ride that to Belfast Grand Central Station. Use the number 300 Airport Express bus if you're arriving from Belfast International. There is no train station at Belfast International, so it's a bus, hire car or taxi for you. You can buy all tickets aboard the bus or from one of the many machines located outside the terminal. Taxis and Uber-like services are available, but I ended up hiring my own car. When you're in the city, you don't need public transport, as Belfast is very walkable. Buses are available if you have mobility issues, but most of what you saw in this video was within easy walking distance. You can buy yourself an all-inclusive travel pass from a machine. It works out about £5 per day, but it's honestly not necessary. The cost? Belfast is a very reasonably priced city compared to London or Dublin. Many attractions I've covered in this video are completely free. The most expensive attractions are the Crumlin Road Gaol and the Titanic Belfast. Pricey, but absolutely worth it. If you're looking for a place to stay, anywhere around City Hall is ideal, as it's the centre point of Belfast. Is there anything else I need to know? Yes. Belfast is in Northern Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom. Therefore, the currency is the British pound, not the euro. So please bear this in mind if you're travelling across the border from the Republic of Ireland. Also, Northern Ireland drives on the left-hand side of the road, with the steering wheel in most hire cars located on the right side of the car. If you want to visit the Titanic Belfast, book this way in advance to avoid disappointment. I wasn't kidding when I said that this is the most popular attraction in the city. Belfast is a very rainy place, so pack waterproofs and an umbrella just in case. And finally, do check out my guide to Dublin if you're thinking about driving across the border to the other Irish capital. If you found this guide helpful, like, share and subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.